Let's finish off 2022 with a bang. First, we'd like to thank everyone as a record number of you took advantage of our Thanksgiving 7-day special. We hope you enjoyed the convenience of getting your favorite handicappers plays daily during the hectic holiday weekend. And we also know that December can be a frenzied month with the holidays and all the sports in play. In the spirit of the season and due to the success of the Thanksgiving special, we are now offering a rest of the calendar year special to get every NFL, college bowl game, NBA, NHL, or any other sport your favorite handicapper releases through December 31st for only $1.99. The early bird really does catch the worm for this special as it starts the day you sign up. No coupon is needed and you pay only $1.99 today or pay $1.99 in a few days. The choice is simple. Let's have a great ending to 2022.
We are live, and it is Wednesday, December the 7th. WagerTalk Today is on every Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on WagerTalk TV. Normally, it's the Prez and Teddy covers, but we're throwing you a curveball today on Wednesday, Pearl Harbor Day. Happy Pearl Harbor Day to all of our veterans out there. There's probably a couple alive still from World War II. And if you are watching WagerTalk today and you are in World War II, please comment below and let us know so we can give you an additional salute. I am Steve Merrill filling in for the Prez, and that is Marco D'Angelo filling in for Teddy covers today on Wednesday. Teddy's expected to be back tomorrow and Thursday. He is trying to avoid the Prez in Las Vegas. Marco, you are trying to do the same. I hope you've been able to avoid the Prez, and let us know what we got going on here on Wednesday on Wager Talk Today.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't escape the Prez. I did see him Monday night. It ended up working out well because I went down to watch the Monday Night Football game with the Prez. And, he was playing in a tournament. I ended up playing cash, so it became a profitable time. This is a great week for poker in Vegas. The rodeo's in town. But, hey, we've got a big show, guys, and we're going to be kicking it off. Our first guest today will be Jay Money. He's going to talk a couple NBA games. Then we're going to bring in me with what bettors learned. And then we're going to bring in Carmine, our second guest today, Carmine Bianco. He just came back from Vegas. We're going to talk to him about a couple World Cup games and how his Vegas trip was. And then we'll close the show out with a big game breakdown. And Arthur Dicesare will join us to get a little peek behind the counter. And Steve, a big show. Let's kick it off.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to our talk with Arthur Dicesare from the Westgate because normally when Prez is in town, there's a moment during the week where he comes in yelling Arthur's name in the Westgate Superbook, and they have to go get him from behind the counter. So we'll find out if that has happened this week as well. And Mark, I didn't know the rodeo was in town. Some square money, some soft money at the poker tables, I guess. So I can understand why the Prez made a trip out there. You know, one guy I did not get to meet up with in Vegas in August. He was there in March. Is Jay Money, the initial three-point champion, will have to defend his title when he gets back out there this spring or hopefully this August, Jay, because I think I'll probably be out there again in August. I got to catch up with Marco, and we'll bring Jay in. Of course, it's Jay Money, and it's Jay Money Talks, right? What's your YouTube channel, Jay? Tell them how they can find you and talk some NBA on a daily basis.
Yeah, NBA Talk with Jay over on YouTube. I'm actually about to go live with Ski Profit here basically right after this show, 1 p.m. Eastern today. I'll be live with Ski Profit talking some NBA games. And yeah, can't wait for the next meetup, guys. Can't wait to get out there and defend my three-point title out there.
Technically, the three-point title's been taken by a 10-year-old Merrill, but we'll talk more about that. So you might have to gain it back. But I've seen Jay shoot. My money might be on Jay Money in the next meet and greets. He's got a pretty smooth shot. Jay, tell me about Andy Lang's Indiana Pacers against the T-Wolves. You know, Minnesota's a team that's getting a lot of hype this season. Got off to a little bit of a shaky start. What are your thoughts on this game tonight?
Yeah, here, I do like the Wolves in this one. I can tell you, any spot here, the Pacers could probably be facing anyone, and I'd probably be fading them in this spot. Last game of a 7-game road trip as well. You go and look at the Wolves in this spot as well. This is their third straight home game, a spot where I'd like to back a home team as well in the NBA. They're off 3 days of rest as well, and they're 5-1 against the spread last 6 games off of 3 days of rest as well. So 2-1 against the spread and straight up this season. one, coming off a home loss as well. So I think the Timberwolves will bounce back here. Definitely the much more rested team. And look at this, man. The Pacers should really run out of gas in this one. They're running on fumes in this game, guys. Last game of a 7-game road trip, third game in 4 nights, fourth game in 6 nights, and 7th game in 11 days, all on the road here. So fading the Pacers here, I think this team is ready to get to the house, and you may get a better line here. Halliburton and Turner are questionable here, may come back. I don't think it matters here. I think the Pacers get ran off the floor in this one.
Jay, normally this is where Teddy would come in and say, so, Jay, let me ask you about this. Well, you know what? I'm going to agree with you, Jay, because that's just the way I am. And I agree because the one thing you didn't mention, everything you said absolutely true about the Pacers in this road trip. But the big one, they're fat and sassy. They're coming off beating Golden State. Come on, you got to throw my fat and sassy out there. I think it's a great spot for Minnesota to run them, out of the building. Like you said, fourth quarter should be interesting for Indiana. They might just want to get headed back home and check in on Andy Lang and see how he's doing. So I agree with you on this one. Let's get that Minnesota home. Lead us in to the next one, Steve.
Yeah, I was going to say Andy Lang is the wounded warrior, the warrior, off-season warrior, winter warrior, whatever you want to call it, award today. He's a little eye surgery. He's still putting videos up and handicapping games. The prop master, the Indiana Pacer prop master, Andy Lang. And by the way, more NBA talk today. You got Jay here at 1 o'clock Eastern on YouTube. Check out his channel right after this show. And then, of course, 4:15 Eastern, we have NBA tip-off here today. We've got Brian Leonard, Tony Mejia, and Ski Profit, who was the runner-up this summer in the three-point contest. Ski did win the adult division, but he did not win the overall title. So he has that going for him. Let's look at another NBA game while we still got you, Jay. And let's see. Let's talk a little bit Celtics Suns. Phoenix found a way to blow that Game 7 last year. Really thought they were maybe the team to beat in the West last year until they blew that Game 7. Celtics, of course, made a run to the finals, did not get it done. These are two high-profile teams tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern. Which way are you going?
Yeah, this is a tough game. I know the Celtics are a juggernaut, right? In the NBA, this team is really tough to go against, but this is a spot where I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't play their best game, in my opinion. This is an East Coast team going West Coast. They're coming off a big game versus somewhat of a couple of big games versus the Raptors and the Nets. But regardless of that, this is something really that I don't think a lot of people are noticing here. The Celtics have a circled spot on their schedule next game up in a championship revenge game versus the Warriors. I would not be a bit surprised if the Celtics were caught looking ahead in this one. The Suns do get Chris Paul back as well in this one, guys. So take a look at this. Suns, the best team in the NBA, coming off a loss. They're 7-0 against the spread this year, coming off a loss. 12-2 straight up at the house as well. Celtics only 1-6 against the spread last 7 in Phoenix, and also only 3-10 against the spread last 13 meetings versus the Suns as well. So for whatever reason, Monty Williams and the guys over there know how to guard the Celtics, and it's basically you need to stop the transition points over there. But regardless of all that, with the much bigger game on deck with the Celtics, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they dropped this game here tonight.
Yeah, Jay, looking at it, I agree with you. It's a bad look-ahead spot for Boston. We always talk about revenge as one of those most overused terms in sports betting, but when it comes down to playoff revenge, in this case, championship of revenge, that's a big one for them to be looking at. Plus, you know me, when we talk about looking at games, we look at not only what's, ahead, but we look in that rearview mirror. Those were two big wins that Boston's coming off of. Brooklyn and Toronto, teams that you figure at some point in the season you're going to have to deal with. You beat both of those teams on the road. That had to be a little bit satisfying. And as you mentioned, Phoenix is one of the best teams in the NBA coming off a loss this season. That perfect 7-0 against the spread mark coming off a loss. Hey, I got to be there with you, man. I'm feeling you today. Love both of your plays.
Appreciate it, Marco. Yeah, I love the way you look at games. We basically look at games in similar fashion here. So like both of the spots, win, lose, or draw, those are only sides that I'd like to be on today.
Yeah, and Jay, you're obviously a good NBA capper, but Marco and I know you're a good NFL capper as well. I think one of the reasons is you take a contrarian approach to both sports. You kind of are a situational guy like me and Marco. We kind of pick our spots. Professional sports, regular season especially, it's not just about the stats, it's about the setups. And Jay doesn't have them on now, but when he does the NBA show at 4:15 Eastern, he has the shades on, and there's a rule here that only one guy can wear glasses. It's either Teddy or Marco normally. But if you like some of those shades that Jay Money has, you can go to the website, jmoneyismoney.com. Get some swag, some T-shirts, some shades, jmoneyismoney.com. And, of course, NBA Talk with Jay Money on YouTube. Hit subscribe here, hit the bell for instant alerts, and do the same thing on his channel, NBA Talk with Jay Money. And, Jay, once again, you got a show going at 1 o'clock Eastern. Tell us about that again.
Yes, sir. So about to go live with my guy, Ski Profit, talking some NBA as we do every Wednesday on the channel. Having a lot of guys, all type of sports memo and wager talk guys coming on the show, talking about plays, special promo codes as well for the website over at WagerTalk.com, my guys. So if you can, go check out the show, subscribe to the YouTube channel, NBA Talk with Jay. Let's get some cash today, guys.
That's the lineup. WagerTalk Today right now, noon Eastern. NBA Talk with Jay Money at 1 Eastern. Then you come back here and you watch the college basketball show at 2 Eastern with Joe Ranieri and company. And then, of course, NBA 4:15 Eastern again here. A lot of NBA on Wednesday here, Marco. No football today, Marco. We've got some college football creeping around the corner, obviously, later this week. But a lot of basketball. And I need to know if you learned anything, not necessarily last night, but if you learned anything for a Wednesday in general. It's the middle of the week. Weekdays are all different. Fridays are heavy in the NBA. Wednesday are kind of heavy in the NBA. I mean, do you look at things on a daily basis when handicapping?
Yeah, Steve, pro sports, money line sports. So we're talking baseball, we're talking hockey. I like to look at trying to find live underdogs at the beginning of the week. And I know people scoff, and I'm going to talk the numbers guys, the guys that are the geeks with the stats, and that's that's the only thing that matters to them. Well, and I know that everybody doesn't play at the same level every single game. There's ebb and flows to the course of the season. There's ebb and flows with teams, in streaks, winning and losing. But I also feel that home courts or home ices are more valuable on the weekends than they are in the early weekday games. It's just not the same type of crowd. You don't have business guys. Hockey's a little more of a more expensive ticket than, baseball, and you get a different crowd. I've been looking at and trying to isolate live dogs in these early games, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday type games. And just to give you an example so far this week, when you're talking about live dogs, I'm talking about the big dogs where we've got a favorite of minus 180 or higher. If just Monday you had 4 plays that fell in that category, they went 2-2. So you say, so what? Well, playing $100 on each of those games, you netted $136 profit going 2-2 because you're taking back big prices. Last night, there were 6 games in that category. The dogs went 4-2, so it was a huge night. 6.60 was the return on profit. Now, I bring this up, and yeah, you're saying it's a short sample size. I'm cherry picking 2 days, but this is one of those angles that I use. I talk about teams returning home from road trips and such, how I like to fade them in those spots. That usually puts you on a road dog in those categories. Steve, you only got to win 40% of the time to make big money. If you get to make money, if you get close to 50% in an angle like that, you're making a ton of money because of the take back price. And those are the things that we're looking for. So think about that when it's those early week games. I know, like in baseball season, I make the joke, nobody wants to be in Pittsburgh on a Monday night, in laying a price when you get those teams like the Yankees or the Dodgers coming in. They look past teams like that. And there's some live dogs on the card tonight as well. And I'll be talking about a dog when we get to the big game breakdown a little later in the show.
Yeah, and it might be a record-breaking or record-setting big game breakdown because I'm not sure we've ever had an NHL big game breakdown. I mean, the only time it would have happened is the few times you filled in for Teddy, or maybe Andrew McGinnis filled in once and did it. But I know Teddy Covers and myself have never done an NHL game for the big game breakdown, so it might be groundbreaking. Stay tuned for some history here in a little bit from Marco D'Angelo. And Marco, we'll bring in Carmine, and Carmine's a soccer expert. He does hockey as well. And Carmine, I want to ask you, I mean, do you look at hockey differently on like a Wednesday versus a Friday? Ralph Michaels has actually had some charts on this show about the NBA. He had a Friday, Saturday chart way back. And I've always felt like Friday is kind of the prime time spot for the NBA. You get a little bit of letdown, weird results on Saturdays because of that. And I think the midweek stuff makes a lot of sense as well. I mean, Carmine, have you ever thought of something like that for hockey? It seems like it might work.
I don't, but I do forecast schedules and look at spots. I mean, on Puck Time earlier today at 10 a.m. with my co-host Andrew McInnes, we looked at 4 games, and 3 of them were West Coast teams. The Colorado Avalanche, Vegas Golden Knights, and the San Jose Sharks coming back from 4-game East Coast road trips. And I love to fade teams that are going east to west off of long road trips. And those are 3 good spots where I like the road teams tonight. Only the Rangers are a dog. Colorado is a dog at home, believe it or not, but that's because they're missing McKinnon as well tonight, as far as and Landeskog. But I look at scheduling spots more so than days of the week.
Yeah, and I think the one thing about the point spread is everything's kind of priced based on past results. There's really final scores and power ratings. I mean, strength of schedule is where you get your power rating in most sports. Where you find an edge, where Marco does this really well, is kind of find those intrinsic situations, like the Sunday night baseball team, as Marco talked about, coming Monday. We talk about that angle a lot on the Monday WagerTalk Todays during the summer when he's on. And situational analysis works really well in the NHL and the NBA because it's a daily sport pretty much like baseball also. Carm, where the lines should be pretty sharp, though, or when you get to the NFL playoffs, the Super Bowl, right? Now we're in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. I want to know, is there still value at this point? I guess the one positive is there's so much public money, right? It's worldwide, one of the biggest betting sporting events of the year coming up here in the next week, this weekend to be exact. And it starts Friday with Netherlands and Argentina. What you looking at in this one?
Yeah, it's you do find value in the lines because this is probably the biggest bet tournament in any sport, and that includes the Super Bowl because obviously it is such a popular sport in Europe and South America, and so you just get a ton of money bet on the World Cup and individual games, and sometimes you get money bet on games because there's an overreaction to what we see in the previous round. And in the round of 16, which was the first knockout stage round in this bracket-style tournament, once they get out of the group stages, there were a couple of upsets and a couple of the teams that should have won, and by convincing scoreline, so you get a bit of an overreaction because people think they're just going to roll into the next games. You got to take each and every game independently. You look at this Netherlands-Argentina game, and I think that's one that falls into it. Listen, I would love nothing better than Argentina to play Brazil in the next round, which is the semifinals. If they both win, they would meet in the semifinals. Two the best South American teams they are. But you can't discount this Netherlands team either. They're on a 19-game unbeaten run since losing in the knockout stages in 2021 of the Euros. They're 14-0-5, 3-0-1 in this tournament thus far. And that game against the U.S., let's not discount the U.S. They're an improving soccer side. But that game against the U.S., they won 3-1. That game could have been 5 or 6-1. This team has gotten better. And I like teams that get better throughout a tournament, that progress from the start and just continue to get better. And they're getting better. But they're facing Argentina, who are the favorites in this game, who've only lost one of their last 40 games, going 29-10-1. That loss was in the first match they won to Saudi Arabia. This is one where when you're betting these games, you have to realize that in the knockout stages, books in North America, when you're betting the 3-way line, it is determined on 90 minutes plus any injury time. If you take Argentina on 3-way, and they're plus 120 in this game, if the game goes into extra time and or penalty kicks, and you took Argentina, regardless of what happens, you lose that bet. It's based on 90 minutes. If you take Argentina to advance, that includes the extra time and penalty kicks, much like the game with Spain and Morocco that went to penalty kicks a couple days ago. With that said, I like Netherlands here. You're getting half a goal in a game in which I believe not only can they win, but at the very least, I think they might get this game into that extra time, the extra 30 minutes or penalty kicks, and you're getting them at you're getting plus a half a goal here. So after 90 minutes, if this game is tied, you're a winner regardless of what happens um, um, moving forward. Whether Argentina wins it in extra time or wins it in penalty kicks, your bet on the Netherlands plus a half minus 140 is a winner, and I think that's the way to go here.
Carmine, I'm not going to pretend to understand soccer. It's not a sport that I follow, so I'll stay in my lane. And rather than cross-examine you as Teddy would do today, I'm just going to lead you into the next game. And that is Portugal is going to face Morocco. And Morocco pulled a big upset. Can they do it again? They knocked off Spain. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, it's another one in which I envision, and looking at the early numbers, there has been a little bit of overreaction in the line with Portugal winning, beating Switzerland 6-1. But that was a game in which once Switzerland fell behind, they were always going to lose that game. Just the 6-1 scoreline, it got out of hand. But it's kind of like pulling your goalie in the NHL, and the game ends 6-1 in that one. I think the biggest surprise there was the manager from Portugal deciding to bench Cristiano Ronaldo, arguably their best player, even though I don't think they're his best player. He's a phenomenal player, but he was benched, for those wondering, because he was pulled from a game in the 65th minute and had a bit of an outburst with the coach and the manager. He had a big set of cojones because he said he stuck him on the bench, only brought him in for the last 10 minutes when there was a foregone conclusion. Portugal won that game, and I would love to see him do the exact same thing here. Morocco upset Spain, but Morocco's been playing well since their new manager took over just before the World Cup. They've gone unbeaten in 7 games in this World Cup. They have yet to allow a goal that they didn't score themselves. Against Canada, they scored in their an own goal. But they've played Belgium, Croatia, Spain, and have kept each of those 3 teams off of the scoreboard. And I expect that they're going to play a similar game against Portugal, which is they play a defensively structured game in which they just try and frustrate you, don't give you any passing lanes, and then they try and counterattack. This is a game where if you can get a 2.5 at minimal juice, you take the under, and you can take Morocco. The line on our WagerTalk live lines is Morocco plus 3/4 of a goal. What that means is if you bet $100 on Morocco, half your bet is graded at Morocco plus a half. Half your wager is is graded on Morocco plus 1. DraftKings, you can get Morocco plus a full goal at minus about 140, 145. And that's probably the play here. I think Morocco has a shot of upsetting Portugal, but this is another game that could very well go to extra time and or penalties, much like the Spain game went. This is we want to look at teams and think Portugal, Morocco. Well, Portugal's got to be better. They've got a ton of talent on that team. It is completely true, but so did Spain. Morocco found a way of shutting them down, and they could very well do it to Portugal here. I would not fall into the trap of the overreaction on Portugal scoring 6 against Switzerland. They're a very good team, but this is going to be a very boring and low-scoring game in which taking the goals could be the best option here.
Carmine, again, I'm not going to cross-examine you, but I got to ask you, you've spent some time here in Vegas this week. Were you lucky enough to avoid the Prez, or did you have any encounters with the Prez that you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, well, he showed up to Sinatra's the opening day. We ate at Sinatra's. He joined us for my wife and my romantic dinner. He decided to come in and crash that, but it is the Prez, of course. I picked up the tab on that dinner bill, and I'm going to thank you. You found a way, Marco. We had dinner with your beautiful wife at Joe's Seafood at Caesars. And I thought something was wrong when you excused yourself to go to the bathroom, because we went to watch the football game at a bar. You drank about 18 iced teas and never once went to the bathroom. And for you to get up and go to the bathroom during dinner, I knew something was wrong, and you sniped the bill. I always love sniping the bill from my friends and coworkers, and paying. You somehow sniped that bill. So my wife and I thank you. It was a great trip. We had a phenomenal time at the Andrea Bocelli concert on Saturday, and a great time with you all, of course. And we're going to see you guys in the new year. But I watched a lot of NHL, and I just want to mention quickly before I go, because I know you guys got to get Art in here, that I do have a 5% NHL play up for tonight. And if you use code NHL10, you can get $10 off of that on a very good run. Last 30 days at WagerTalk, I believe 55-34 with NHL, which is number one at WagerTalk last 30 days.
Yeah, Carmine is up 21 games the last 30 days. That's almost a game per day in the NHL, 55-34. And that 5% best bet is normally $35. It's $10 with NHL10, NHL10. So use that promo code. Carmine, great to see you. Honestly, two of the nicest and most generous people you will ever meet, Marco D'Angelo and Carmine Bianco, all seriousness. And I just love, Carm, that you're basically neighbors with Prez. You leave the country and he still crashes your dinner in Las Vegas. Yeah. Only the Prez could find a way to do that. That takes talent, my man. Carm, good luck with the soccer. Good luck with the hockey. Get some rest. I know you just got back late last night to Canada, so we'll talk to you soon. Marco, good stuff from Carmine Bianco. And like I said, we might be making history here, as it could be the first ever. If it's not the first, it's probably the second ever NHL big game breakdown here on WagerTalk Today. No pressure. Marco D'Angelo will be back in 30 seconds.
Let's finish off 2022 with a bang. First, we'd like to thank everyone, as a record number of you took advantage of our Thanksgiving 7-day special. We hope you enjoyed the convenience of getting your favorite handicappers plays daily during the hectic holiday weekend. And we also know that December can be a frenzied month with the holidays and all the sports in play. In the spirit of the season and due to the success of the Thanksgiving special, we are now offering a rest of the calendar year special to get every NFL, college bowl game, NBA, NHL, or any other sport your favorite handicapper releases through December 31st for only $1.99. The early bird really does catch the worm for this special, as it starts the day you sign up. No coupon is needed, and you pay only $1.99 today or pay $1.99 in a few days. The choice is simple. Let's have a great ending to 2022.
All right, I'm filling in for Teddy, and I get to do the big game breakdown. We're going hockey tonight, and guys, you know what? I'm going out in uncharted water, not because you guys don't generally get a hockey play for the big game breakdown. It's not going to be a happy household for Marco for me with this particular play, because I am going to be at the game tonight behind the net with my lovely wife, who is a big, big Vegas Golden Knights fan, and I'm going against the Golden Knights, and it's all about the spot. And what we're looking at here is the Knights are coming off a 4-game East Coast road trip. Now, I love fading teams when they come back home that first game, especially when it is a switch of time zones going from the East Coast back here to the West Coast. That in itself would have me looking to fade the Golden Knights tonight. But what really has it for me is that 4-game road trip. They went 3-1. And in that final game was Monday at Boston, the team with the best record in the NHL. They handed them their first loss on home ice. Another reason lines me up to go against the Golden Knights tonight. But there's a sidebar caveat to that game. The coach of the Golden Knights, Bruce Cassidy, was the coach of the Boston Bruins last year. He was fired. The Golden Knights wanted that game bad for him, and they played their guts out, jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Then the Bruins, as they do, they battled back, tied the game 3-3. It went to overtime. Nobody scored in the extra 5-minute period. They went to the shootout, and the Golden Knights got the job done. After such a big win, returning home, and then they're going to have a rematch with Boston here in Vegas over the weekend. This is a horrible spot for the Golden Knights tonight. I am fading them, taking the live dog with the New York Rangers, who, by the way, is coached by the former coach of the Golden Knights from a couple years ago, Gallant. So take the live dog with the New York Islanders, and it will not be a happy household here for the D'Angelos tonight. But that's how much I love the viewers that I'll risk that tonight for you guys for a winning play.
It's Marco D'Angelo making history on Wager Talk today with the first ever NHL big game breakdown, and he's going against his home team. That's called an emotional hedge. You can't win, but you can't lose either tonight, Marco, because there's no ties. And actually, could have a tie. I forgot it's a regular season game. I misspoke. We could have a tie tonight. I call for a draw. I think that's how this game finishes. Since you're a Vegas fan, you'll be pulling for the Rangers. This game ends at a tie. Plus money's worth a look if that's the case. Let's bring on Art Dicesare from the Westgate in Las Vegas. And Arthur, I've got to ask you, the Prez is in town. Have you had your normal Prez moment in which he comes in screaming at 11 p.m. at night as you're trying to get out of there, asking for you by name, calling for you by name?
Let's not wake it up. You know, I have not seen him yet. He has not embarrassed me at work this week. But I know when I go into work later today, he is coming in and he's going to be at the top of his lungs. Where is Arthur Dicesare? Where is he? I know it's coming. It's now been spoken into existence. So, yeah, I'm dreading going to work.
He must be having a good run at the poker table, like Marco said, that he has not had time to come find you. Because I guarantee you that's on his top 5 list right now is to find Art Dicesare at the Westgate Superbook before he leaves town. And Arthur, let's get right into it. We got so much to cover. I'll start off with the NFL. I mean, we're in the last quarter of the regular season. Any big liability? I would think the Bucs are sitting pretty good for you guys. I'm not sure if they went off as a favorite at the Westgate, but I know a lot of spots they were the NFC preseason favorite. And they did get a big come from behind win Monday to probably get them in a position to make the playoffs, still get a home game. But are there any longer shots, some teams that you have some liability on to the Super Bowl, or do you all want Buffalo in there? Do you want Tampa in there? Do you want the big name teams in there?
Yeah, you know, right now, Steve, the big name teams would be okay. I think one team that's kind of lurking around that we took some liability early on in the season when they were as high as 20-1 are the Chargers. And that's a team, you know, who could be in the playoffs. I don't know if they make a deep sort of run in that AFC, but they're probably the team that we look at with the biggest liability to make a deep run and maybe win a Super Bowl.
Arthur,
hey Marco,
question for
what are you thinking?
The game that's got me scratching my head this week is the Minnesota Viking Detroit Lion game. Can you take us behind the scenes at what went on when you guys were setting the line on this particular game?
Yeah, you know, this is a game I've gotten a lot of text messages on going, like, just from friends back east, you know, who are maybe casual bettors being like, how can the Lions be a favorite against Minnesota? So, you know, when we opened the game, it was basically pick 'em. We had Lions -1. We took a very big house bet from a house player on Detroit -1. It was a nice 5-figure bet. And, you know, the market just really started moving. We didn't really move off that number, maybe half a point. And now the market's moved all the way to 2.5. So Detroit money and the market has moved that game. I think it's a couple of things. Obviously, Detroit's at home. You know, the Lions have been good these last couple of weeks. They've won, they've covered. Despite the Vikings being whatever they are, 10-2, 10-3, they're like the worst team in the history of the NFL point differential with that type of record. So I think all that has factored in. But I think from the casual person who just sees the Lions with a losing record at home as a favorite and almost at the key number of 3 now. I don't know if we ever get there because then all the money will flood in on Minnesota. But the fact that we've approached the key number of 3 is really interesting.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, Art, because I've had several people message me early in the week, and they're, you know, looking forward to my Fade the Public video here on Wager Talk TV this Saturday, and they're all saying the Vikings are going to have to be the biggest public dog of the season. It's a little early still for me, but 2 of the 3 consensus sites I look at, which is just public square, not even betting information, just kind of consensus information, it's not as heavy as I think. I do see Minnesota at 1, but the other ones probably are kind of neutral. So it'll be interesting to see how this turns out because obviously a 10-2 Vikings team, as you said, against a 5-7 Lions team does catch people off guard. I've said all season that Minnesota is a phony 10-2. They're being outgained over a half a yard per play on the season still. I want to ask something you said. They talk about money coming in, moving the line. Westgate is definitely one of the leading indicator books. They're one of the big boys. You all set your own numbers. But with that said, how much do you move numbers with the rest of the global market, especially around key numbers in the NFL? If you have a 2.5 hanging, everyone else has a 3, are you more likely to start moving that before you get hit on it in anticipation, or do you move purely based on your risk management, your money situation?
Yeah, it really can just depend on the game and what we think and where we think a number could go. Obviously, our real seasoned guys in that back room, like Jeff and Ed, we take our cues from them. A lot of times, too, we could just move juice. Maybe, we'll start at -2.5, -120, and just kind of see what happens. And then, it's a minute-to-minute, hour-to-hour business. So, we really have to see what's going on, especially as we approach the week. Obviously, it's a little early right now on a Wednesday. A lot of public money will start coming in later in the week. Obviously, the sharp people have already kind of put their stamp of what they think the game will be early on, especially when we put those, not that they're overnight numbers, but when we re-release the lines Sunday night for the next week, the guys who are going to bet and really have an opinion, they come in early. So we kind of go off that, see where the public money goes, see where obviously the markets go, and it all plays into it.
All right, there's a team in the NFL, and it seems like every single year there's one team that all of the sharps just keep chasing and they keep burning money with them. And it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Why do you get money every week on Jacksonville? And I'm guilty as well. Every week they look like the spot, and they just keep letting me down. I remember a few years ago that sharp team that Sunday morning money was coming in every week on was the Cleveland Browns, and they just kept, burning the money. But yet the sharps think the team is underachieving and keep chasing them.
Yeah, you're right, Marco. There are always teams like that. And I think a lot of times with the guys and the sharp bettors and the quote-unquote wise guys who find a team, they just get the best number on it. Like, if they see Jacksonville getting a number that they like, even if the performance hasn't been good, there are guys who just bet numbers. And they look at numbers and they feel, hey, we're betting it. And, it's funny, Jacksonville this week is going against a team who is always disrespected in the betting market in Tennessee. Tennessee, never gets any love in the betting market, and they're a winning team. Obviously, they haven't been good these last couple of weeks, but now you have Tennessee coming home, 3.5, 4-point favorite now. And you're right, there will be some buy on Jacksonville at that +4 because Tennessee just gets no love. So it's interesting that it's that team that they're playing this week. But, I just think that happens every week and every year where these type of teams that almost the wise guys can't get off of. They're like, if we've been betting them all year, I'm going to keep betting them. And if I get the best number, I'm just going to bet the number.
Yeah, I mean, last week they went off they were a favorite slightly at one point at Detroit, lose by 30. And the Lions we just talked about are now favored over the 10-2 Vikings. So it's pretty crazy how these lines have been in the NFL. This is Arthur Dicesare, the risk supervisor at the Westgate Superbook in Las Vegas. Follow him on Twitter, by the way, at ArtDice21. That's one of the best Twitter handles out there, ArtDice21. I love that one, Arthur. And let's stick with football, but switch to college football. Talk bowls in general if you'd like, but of course I want to ask you about the national semifinals as well on New Year's Eve. Some early action, what you're seeing in that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually just released all of our bowl numbers yesterday. Obviously, we had the semifinal games up from the minute they were announced, basically. But we put up the rest of the bowl slate yesterday. Nothing really crazy to report yet on that. I mean, that Oregon-North Carolina game saw a lot of yo-yoing in the total and the side when Drake May announced that he was going to transfer. So obviously, if North Carolina doesn't have their quote-unquote Heisman hopeful quarterback, that's going to change the line a lot. So that was the one that kind of was bouncing around a lot yesterday and has now settled back. But, the Ohio State-Georgia game, that game we opened at 6.5, Georgia favored. There's really been no move, and we've taken Georgia money. We haven't moved off that number. It has stayed pretty steady there for us. So, we also realize, too, these games are going to hang on the board for 3 or 4 weeks. So we're going to get a lot of handle on the game. So we don't overreact too much to what's going on. We just kind of see what's going on. That total's creeped up a little bit from where we opened it. was 60.5, now 61.5. The TCU Michigan game, that's a little bit more interesting as far as the bets that we've seen that have come in. We had Michigan as high as -9. We took a really sharp play from a respected bettor at TCU +9. We're now sitting Michigan -8, so TCU's dropped the point. There are some 7.5s out there, so there's a little bit of a variance in the market on that. And the total, we had it as high as 61.5. It's dropped to 59.5. And we've actually seen sharp money come in on that under 61.5 and now over 59.5. So we've seen both sides of it. So once again, with these semifinal games that are going to hang on the board for 3 or 4 weeks, we know that, it's not a sprint here. It's a marathon with these games.
Art, is there any one of the 4 teams that are left that would be a bad outcome for you guys as far as future wagers?
Marco, I think the worst one would be Michigan. Michigan always takes money. They're a public brand. They're a team that, unlike Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State and some of these other really public brands that are they're too low on the board early in the year. They're 2, 3, 4 to 1. Michigan obviously was a little bit lower down the board. We won't get killed on Michigan, but Michigan would be a slight losing result.
Yeah, and I remember I actually recommended on some of my videos back in September, take a look at Michigan. They were as high as 20 to 1, even a few weeks in. And I'd been saying pretty early on, I thought they definitely had a dark horse chance of winning the whole thing, if not making the Final Four. And you're going to have either Michigan or TCU for sure in the finals. And I know TCU was a much higher price than that when the season began. So there will be a semi-long shot playing for the national title for sure this year. And got a couple minutes left with Arthur Dicesare, risk supervisor at the Superbook, Westgate Superbook in Las Vegas. And Art, before we get you out of here, let's look at the daily sports. No football today, but we do have a lot of college basketball, pro basketball, NHL. Anything catch your eye for this Wednesday, December 7th?
Sure. Let's go to hoops. I'll throw a couple out in the NBA and a couple in college. NBA, we saw sharp money come in early on the Timberwolves at home against the Pacers. It was -4. It's moved up a point. Now Timberwolves -5. Good over money's come in on the Laker Raptors. As low as 226, now 230. So you've seen a 4-point move to the over there. Switching to college basketball, overnight we took good over money on the Cornell University Miami game. Sharp money came in at 149, as high as 154 now. Those college basketball totals overnight can move 4, 5, 6 points. You've seen that on that game. And some sharp money on Georgetown. Georgetown against Siena. Georgetown as low as -5 when the sharps bet it. It's now -6, even though Georgetown's been bad. Sharp players are happy to lay kind of the short price with Georgetown.
Marco, any thoughts on the daily action before we get Art out of here?
How's the action been on the Golden Knights? Playing well for the team. I know that we get a lot of action with the hometown folk, and as you know, I'm going against them tonight, so I hope they drive the line up so I can hit it late.
Well, Marco, when I heard that big game breakdown, this is a lifelong Ranger fan. So I was sitting there going, ooh, I like this. Okay, let's do this, And the Rangers have been bad, man. They have not been good. Anytime they play the backup, they lose. Obviously, Igor will probably be in net tonight, and he should be. So, they always have a shot with Igor. But, yeah, you're right, Marco. We always take night money. It's the way it is. The nights are very popular. We offer a lot of night stuff for the games, first goal score, nights props. We don't do that on any other NHL games. Obviously, we do it for the hometown team. And we always see a lot of action on those secondary markets because, the Knights have taken over this town. And it's no different this season. And the fact they're winning and have shot all the way up the board, I think we had them as low opening the season at, 18 to 1 to win the cup. And it was never as low as that, when it was, in the first year when they were an expansion team. So, yeah, we've seen a lot of people come in and start to bet the Knights to win the cup because they see how good the team's playing.
It's funny. I'm looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, and right after Marco did his big game breakdown about 10 minutes ago, the Westgate went from -146 to -138, and now they just went back to -140, which is one of the lower numbers out there right now in the betting market. So the betting public is watching big game breakdown here on WagerTalk today. Art, are you still doing the -105 juice on Thursday? Can people lock in the bowl games in advance and the NFL as well? Tell us what you got going on at the Westgate Superbook.
Yeah, so right now, bowl games aren't there yet. But if you want to come in tomorrow on -105 Thursdays, You can still get NFL sides and totals for the weekend. It's something we run throughout the season, and it's just a great thing to take advantage of, especially if you're betting football throughout the year. You save yourself a little bit of juice, put some more money in your pocket on a Thursday. So yeah, that's something that we are still doing. Like I said, not anything for the college yet, but still running for the NFL.
Yeah, that's such a great value, and I know Marco appreciates it. All sharp bettors do, but you're cutting your juice in half. You're cutting what you need to win instead of about 53.5%. It's like 51.2 is your break even when you're laying minus 105 juice. I don't think people comprehend what a fantastic offer that is to be able to do that on the NFL sides and totals, which a lot of places, even when they do it, won't let you do it on totals. So great offer from the Westgate Superbook in Las Vegas. If you're in town, Prez, make sure you get down there tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow will be when you see the Prez. He'll come in for the minus 105 juice, and he'll call you out and try to get minus 104 juice while there as a special friends and family discount for the show. Arthur, good luck avoiding the Prez. Take care. Say hi to him if you do see him, and we will see you again next Wednesday here on Wager Talk Today. It's Arthur Dicesare every Wednesday here on Wager Talk Today, risk supervisor at the Westgate Superbook in Las Vegas, Nevada. Marco, enjoyed doing the show with you. Teddy is scheduled to be back tomorrow, but if not, I know you're ready to go from the bullpen as always. Bet on It, I believe, is on later today on Wednesday. Check out Marco on the NFL edition. Not sure if y'all are doing a college edition this week. You normally have both, but obviously the NFL, right?
Yeah, just the NFL this week with just the Army-Navy game, and you don't need to break that down. Everybody knows you just bet the under, right?
Yeah, speaking of which, find Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports in video. I have it actually retweeted on my page. 16 straight unders. The total, I looked at this last night, Marco. The total to the second game in of that 16-game streak, the total was 64 a decade and a half ago. Now it's 32 and a half. So it's been cut literally in half since that run began. So we'll talk more about that as we get near the weekend. I'm sure one of the guests will have that game here the next couple of days. And we will be back Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And once again, enjoyed being with you, Marco. I wanted to remind people out there, $199 for the rest of December at WagerTalk.com. No promo code needed. And that means the sooner you get on, the sooner you get more days for free. So this yesterday, now get Thursday, Friday, Saturday for free because this offer goes through Sunday. Why not get on board now? All sports, every play, every day for the rest of the year, just $199 at WagerTalk.com. And Marco, I'll let you take us home. Enjoy doing the show with you.
All right. Just want to thank all of our guests that were on the show today. Carmine, Jay Money, and of course, Art Dicesare. And Steve, thanks for letting me fill in. And sorry if I wasn't as grumpy as the normal Teddy covers, but hey, it's a good day. Prez is going home tomorrow, so it's all good in Vegas. So pray for me tonight if the Rangers win, because it's going to be a long ride home with Mrs. D'Angelo, the lovely Lori, tonight. She will not be happy with me.
It's a no-win situation for you, Marco, but you've put yourself in this situation by giving all you've got for the first ever NHL Big Game Breakdown here on Wager Talk Today. Enjoy doing the show. People out there, best of luck tonight, and tune in tomorrow, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll do it again here on Wager Talk TV.
Let's finish off 2022 with a bang. First, we'd like to thank everyone as a record number of you took advantage of our Thanksgiving 7-day special. We hope you enjoyed the convenience of getting your favorite handicappers plays daily during the hectic holiday weekend. And we also know that December can be a frenzied month with the holidays and all the sports in play. In the spirit of the season and due to the success of the Thanksgiving special, we are now offering a rest of the calendar year special to get every NFL, college bowl game, NBA, NHL, or any other sport your favorite handicapper releases through December 31st for only $199. The early bird really does catch the worm for this special as it starts the day you sign up. No coupon is needed and you pay only $199 today or pay $199 in a few days. The choice is simple.